Hey, what's up guys? We are coming dangerously close to the release of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. We already have a ton of information now. We know the entire launch roster as well as the function of all 6 Infinity Stones. It has been quite a long journey, man, of memes and salt. Pretty much, memes and salt. But you know, things are looking up, especially after the last 2 trailers that we've seen. We got visual improvements, and you know, just seen a lot of recent gameplay videos, so it has been looking better. But how did this whole rocky road start for Marvel Infinite? Where did it all happen? Where this became this roller coaster ride of emotions? In this video, I thought it'd be fun to just go over the top 5, in my opinion, PR disasters of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and we'll kind of go in chronological order. So let's start off with number 5. I think this is an easy one. The very first big PR disaster, no doubt, was having no X-Men characters basically confirmed for the game. This is definitely when shit started hitting the fan before the game was even announced, actually, because this all started out with a leaked rumor. At the time, we thought it was Marvel vs. Capcom 4. So we didn't know if this game was going to be a reality or not at the time, but we did know that if this leak was indeed true, if Marvel vs. Capcom 4 or Infinite was going to be released, that there would also be no X-Men characters in the initial roster. So it would basically be bittersweet, right? And people were very salty about this. And then the game launches, and indeed, it is true, there are no X-Men characters. So, well, specifically no Fox characters, right? Because we don't have Doctor Doom either. Now, I think it's obvious to everyone that Capcom had absolutely no control over this disaster. Marvel is going to, want to promote specific characters from specific movie franchises, and, they're going to be the ones that call the shots, and on who they want on their side of the roster. The problem is that Capcom ends up taking up all the heat from this, right? From all the criticism and stuff is going to go on Capcom's side, because they're the ones making this game. Now, this made a really tricky PR situation for Capcom, because they cannot just outright throw Marvel under the bus and say, hey guys, it's not our fault, it's Marvel's fault, we didn't have a choice. They have a business relationship with a monster company, Disney. Disney is basically Skynet right now, so they can't burn that bridge. They're forced to have to work around it, to kind of dodge the questions, so to speak. I still think to this day Capcom could have saved themselves, though, from the situation, or at least softened the blow a little bit by really hitting it home with, a base roster, a really good base roster on the Capcom side. So what I mean by this is Capcom could have just played this off saying, hey guys, it's time for, some new characters that we haven't seen from different franchises that they've owned. And it's their turn now, We've had X-Men characters in all these games. Now let's give some other characters a chance to fill in the roster, because we can only have so many characters, right? Let's just say they use characters from franchises such as Breath of Fire, or Power Stone, or God Hand, whatever. Just things that we haven't seen in a while, right? Or they can even give some characters from franchises already in the game a turn. So, for example, instead of having Chris Redfield, we could have had Leon Kennedy, right? Or instead of, Dante, we could have had Nero. So, there were different options they could have did to compensate it, right? Like I said, soften the blow or keep people distracted on other characters. Because when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was first announced, we had, returning X-Men characters, but we also had a lot of characters from different franchises that we wanted from a really long time. And this was an opportunity for Capcom to get those characters that they missed out on from Marvel 3, right? So the bottom line is that there's just too many, returning characters in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite on the base roster, and just, it's just not as new as and exciting as it was in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and, at the same time, they're also missing X-Men characters on top of this. So at the very least, I should have mentioned that Capcom has tried compensating by giving the returning characters a bunch of new moves and new supers, which is great. And plus the Infinity Stone system will, change the way these characters play as well. But I think they could have done even more than that. Alright, PR disaster number 4, accessibility. So this is like a bunch of things bundled up in one. So shortly after the game was announced, we got a bunch of interviews and leaked gameplay footage with details on the controls and the gameplay, how the game is going to play, right? So we found out the game would be 2v2 instead of 3v3. We found out there'd be no assist mechanic in the game. And then we also found out that there'll be auto combos in the game as well. And then finally, we heard rumors of the DP motion being changed to a down-down motion. So, as you can imagine, people were very scared. This caused some serious concerns, including myself, because it seemed like we were going backwards on this franchise, especially when Marvel is known as this crazy, chaotic fighting game. At this time now, though, most of this is not worrisome anymore. The 2v2 format with no assist has been replaced with a free-form tag system that has a lot of potential for players to, express themselves and have their own style, and then including the Infinity Stone system is good as well. The auto combos are completely lackluster and will not impact people stealing rounds from better players, so you don't have to worry about that. And it won't interfere with veteran players if they were mashing on a button and they didn't want to do an auto combo, because it's confirmed that you can disable it in the options. So yeah, auto combos they just don't do enough damage, and they're just too lackluster in general, right? So as for the down motions from the DP, it is true that many characters have had their DP motions changed, and but there's still a bunch of characters that still maintain their DP motions, so not all of it has been replaced. The bottom line is that the game will not be a button mash fest, and with an insane eye-rolling comeback mechanic like X Factor, like Marvel 3 did. So honestly, it's a fair trade in my opinion. Moving on to PR disaster number 3, you guys know I had to put this one in here, Chun-Li's face. So this is definitely where the memes started for Marvel's Capcom Infinite. The visual presentation was definitely lackluster, especially on the beginning parts of the game. But above all else, Capcom's most recognized, female character, Chun-Li, received the most criticism. There was definitely some characters that looked really, off as well. Like Dante and Chris, for example. Even to this day, people are still not, satisfied with everyone. And, it's really hit or miss, because I felt that, Capcom Marvel looked fine when the game first launched, So there was a lot of inconsistency with the visuals of the game. And, basically, when you guys watch trailers, and at the bottom of the screen somewhere it says, this game is still in development, this is the reason why the text is there. So, just because we already know, it's obvious that this game is still in development, definitely it causes a lot of concerns when you see something that far off. In fact, I'm still concerned about the UI myself, but that's my own personal opinion. But Capcom has done a visual update, right? They are listening to the feedback, and people are, getting more positive about it for sure. Especially Chun-Li got a fix, and we're expected to get a day 1 patch when this game launches that fixes even more, so I'm looking forward to the results. Okay, now on to number 2, the story mode demo. So I think this did a lot more damage than you guys think. Man, I definitely missed out on this disaster myself personally, because I was flying to LA to attend E3 at the time, so I actually didn't get to play this demo until, a couple weeks after it was released. So this was a free download for everyone that did not include verses, right? That's definitely one of the worst parts about it. It did not include verses, and that which would have shown off the game's strongest point at the time, which was MVCI's gameplay. Instead, it was a demo focusing more on one of its weakest points, which was the visual presentation and the story mode. So the build was also an even older version than the one shown off at E3, which caused a ton of mixed feedback from people that were positive E3, including myself who got to play the game, and everyone else being negative, because at the time I'm like, oh, this game's not bad, right? And everyone that I've talked to and everyone said, yeah, they were positive for the most part. But when you go on social media and stuff, everyone was super salty that we're playing the story mode demo at the time. So it was a gong show, man. So Capcom should have definitely waited and held back on this to have a newer version and more content on this, and either an online test or versus mode. If anything, I feel like this demo made people not want to buy the game. I just couldn't see any positive feedback from this, so it was definitely a misstep in Capcom's plan for sure. And finally, guys, we have PR disaster number 1, the function interview. This meme will never die, guys. It will haunt us forever in every single fighting game in the future. I was actually talking to my friend the other day about how ugly the training stage looked like in this game. I was so bummed out about it, and my friend just simply replied to me. He said, well, the training stage is just a function. and that really pissed me off. But if you missed out on how this like meme started in the first place, basically there was this GameSpot interview with Capcom where they were going in deep with questions. They were asking some tough questions for Capcom, and if Capcom tried to dodge around the question, they would just simply ask them again directly and make sure they answer it. And of course, one of the questions was the omission of X-Men in the character roster. So Combo Fiend took the first attempt, and I'll directly quote this, so yeah, there's no discrepancies, but he basically said, sorry, if you were to actually think about it, these characters are just functions. They're just doing things. So that was the first sentence, and that pretty much set everyone off. He went on to explain that, you know, Magneto is picked for his 8-way dash, and that other characters in the game can do that too, and because of that, he won't be left out. Now, obviously, this caused a huge uproar, and pissed a lot of people off. To this day, you know, I still kind of get what Combo Fiend said, and I'm sure he didn't say it to offend people, but I just think the way he explained it, it just really poured salt on an open wound, so to speak, in the first place from not having X-Men and then hearing that as well, and just saying we only care about these characters because of their functions. It was just, everyone had something to say about it, okay? Everyone did. It is good that there are some characters in the game that suit our playstyles, that, you know, that the X-Men characters did before, for sure. And, you know, it's also good that Capcom didn't directly copy X-Men characters as well, leaving the door open in case they want to add X-Men characters along, you know, in the future. But, in before Black Panther plays exactly like Wolverine, by the way. So let me know what you guys think. I'm pretty sure I didn't miss anything if I was going to condense this list into 5 big PR disasters. Maybe I should make one for Street Fighter V someday. But let me know what you guys' opinions on this, if I missed anything like I said, or if you guys agree. Don't forget to like the video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep you guys posted on more fighting game news in the future. So have a good weekend, guys, and enjoy the fight tonight. Take care.